Your mouth is destroying your future. Let me say that again. Your mouth is destroying your future. Not your circumstances, not your past, not your education or your bank account. Your mouth. The words you speak are either building the life you were born to live or burying the person you were meant to become. And most of you don't even know it's happening. You talk too much. You complain too much. You explain too much. You justify too much. You announce too much. And while your mouth is running, your destiny is dying, because every word you speak is a seed. And you've been planting weeds in the garden of your life and wondering why nothing beautiful grows. Let me tell you something about words. Words are not just sounds. They are forces. They are containers of power. They create, they destroy, they build, they tear down. The universe itself was spoken into existence. Everything you see around you was once a word before it became a thing, and you have that same creative power sitting inside your mouth right now. But instead of using it to design your destiny, you're using it to document your pain. You wake up and the first thing you do is complain. I'm so tired, I don't want to go to work. I hate Mondays, this weather is terrible, my life is hard. And you think these are just harmless statements? You think you're just being honest? No, you're being destructive. You're programming your future with your present frustration. You're building tomorrow with the bricks of your complaints today. And here's what most people don't understand. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you say. Your words are like a magnet. They attract what matches their frequency. When you constantly talk about what you don't have, you attract more lack. When you constantly talk about how hard things are, you attract more difficulty. When you constantly talk about your problems, you give them permission to stay. I've watched people talk themselves out of promotions. I've watched people talk themselves out of relationships. I've watched people talk themselves out of healing, not because they weren't qualified, not because they weren't worthy, but because they couldn't stop announcing their limitations to everyone who would listen. I'm not good at this. I've always struggled with that. I can't do it. It's too hard for me. I'm not smart enough. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have the connections. Nobody believes in me. Stop it. Zip your mouth. You are not a reporter of reality. You are a creator of reality. Your job is not to describe what is. Your job is to declare what will be. And until you understand that distinction, you will remain stuck in a cycle of speaking your current situation into your future destination. Let me tell you about a lion. A lion doesn't announce its presence. It doesn't walk around the jungle telling every animal, hey, I'm the king. Did you know I'm powerful? Let me tell you about my strength. No, the lion is silent. It moves with quiet confidence. And when it roars, everyone knows. Because its roar is not for validation, it's for declaration. It announces action, not intention. But you announce everything. You tell people about the business you're going to start. You tell people about the weight you're going to lose. You tell people about the book you're going to write. You tell people about the changes you're going to make. And while you're busy talking, time is passing. While you're busy explaining, others are executing. While you're busy announcing, your dream is dying of neglect. Successful people don't talk about what they're going to do. They disappear and come back with results. They zip their mouth and open their work ethic. They stop making announcements and start making moves because they understand something critical. The energy you use to explain could be used to execute. Every time you explain your dream to someone who doesn't have the capacity to understand it, you leak power. Every time you defend your vision to someone who can't see it, you drain energy. Every time you try to convince someone who isn't convinced, you waste time. Not everyone deserves to know your plans. Not everyone has earned access to your future. Some people are in your life to test you, not to support you. And when you keep talking to them about where you're going, you give them ammunition to shoot down your dreams. Zip your mouth, protect your vision, guard your words like you guard your money. Because words are currency in the spiritual realm. And you've been spending yours carelessly. Here's another truth that will make you uncomfortable. Most people don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to fail either. They just want you to stay where you are so they don't feel bad about staying where they are. Your growth makes them nervous. Your progress makes them uncomfortable. Your success makes them question their excuses. So when you tell them about your dreams, their job is not to encourage you. Their job is to protect their comfort zone by discouraging you. That's risky. Are you sure? What if it doesn't work? Do you know how hard that is? Maybe you should wait. Maybe you should think about it more. Maybe you should be realistic. And because you don't understand the power of silence, you internalize their doubt. You take their fear and make it your own. You let their limitations become your boundaries. And before you know it, you're not even fighting your own battles anymore. You're fighting theirs. Zip your mouth. Stop seeking permission from people who are afraid to live. Stop asking for validation from people who have settled. Stop explaining your vision to people who are blind. Your job is not to make them understand. Your job is to move forward. Let me tell you something about greatness. Greatness is always misunderstood in its early stages. Every person who ever did something significant was called crazy before they were called successful. Every innovation was mocked before it was celebrated. Every vision was doubted before it became reality. So if people don't understand what you're doing, congratulations, you're on the right path. But you don't need to convince them. You need to continue. The problem is you think you need everyone to believe in you before you can believe in yourself. You think you need everyone to see your vision before you can pursue it. You think you need everyone's approval before you can take action. No, you don't need their belief. You need your obedience. You don't need their approval. You need your commitment. You don't need their understanding. You need your execution. And here's where it gets deep. When you stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it, something shifts in the spiritual realm. The universe responds to action, not intention. Heaven responds to movement, not motivation. You can be motivated all day long, but until you move, nothing moves. You can be inspired for years, but until you act, nothing happens. Your mouth has been writing checks that your actions haven't been cashing. You've been making promises to yourself that you haven't been keeping. You've been declaring things that you haven't been demonstrating. And the gap between what you say and what you do is called credibility. And right now, you have a credibility problem with yourself. You don't even believe your own words anymore because you've lied to yourself so many times. This is the year. This is the month. This is the week. This is the date. I'm going to start. I'm going to change. I'm going to do it. And then you don't. And every time you make a declaration and don't follow through, you train yourself not to trust yourself. You become your own biggest disappointment. Zip your mouth until your actions match your words. Zip your mouth until your life reflects your declarations. Zip your mouth until you've built something worth talking about. Because premature celebration kills unborn miracles. When you celebrate too early, you abort the process. When you announce too soon, you release the pressure that was meant to push you forward. Think about a seed. When a seed is planted in the ground, it doesn't announce its presence. It doesn't shout, hey, I'm going to be a tree. It stays silent. It stays hidden. It goes through a process underground that nobody sees, and during that process, if you dig it up to check on it, you kill it. The silence is part of the growth. The hiddenness is part of the process. The waiting is part of the preparation. But you can't handle silence. You can't handle being hidden. You can't handle the process. You want to announce the seed before it becomes a tree. You want to celebrate the idea before it becomes a reality. You want credit for intention before you produce results. And that's why you're still stuck. The enemy of your destiny is not doubt. It's distraction. And your mouth is the biggest distraction you have. Every time you should be working, you're talking. Every time you should be praying, you're posting. Every time you should be building, you're bragging. And you wonder why nothing is manifesting. Let me tell you about the manufacturer's instructions. When a manufacturer creates a product, they include instructions. And in those instructions, there's always a warning. Do not use this product for anything other than its intended purpose. Why? Because if you use it wrong, it won't work. It will break. It will malfunction. You were manufactured with a purpose. You were created with an instruction manual. And one of the clearest instructions is this: guard your mouth. Use your words intentionally. Speak life. Speak vision. Speak faith. But most importantly, know when to be silent. Because silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is power. Silence is wisdom. The wisest people are not the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who listen the most. They're the ones who observe the most. They're the ones who think the most. And when they finally speak, their words carry weight because they've been measured. Their words create impact because they've been calculated. Their words produce results because they've been aligned with action. But you speak impulsively. You react emotionally. You respond defensively. And your words have no power because they have no purpose. You're just making noise. You're just filling space. You're just talking to hear yourself talk. And while you're busy making noise, the people who are serious about their future are making progress in silence. Here's a hard truth. Your current life is a direct reflection of the words you've been speaking for the last 5 years. If you don't like where you are, go back and listen to what you've been saying. Go back and examine the conversations you've been having. Go back and analyze the declarations you've been making, because your mouth got you here. And if you don't change what you say, you won't change where you stay. You've been speaking poverty while praying for prosperity. You've been speaking sickness while praying for healing. You've been speaking failure while praying for success. And you wonder why your prayers aren't working. Your prayers aren't working because your words are fighting against them. You can't pray up and talk down. You can't declare victory in the morning and declare defeat in the evening. You can't speak life on Sunday and speak death on Monday. Your words must be consistent. Your words must be intentional. Your words must be aligned with your vision. Because if they're not, you're just creating confusion in the spiritual realm. You're sending mixed signals to the universe. You're giving permission for both blessing and curse to operate in your life simultaneously. Zip your mouth, get control of your tongue, master your speech, because the same mouth that can bless can also curse. The same mouth that can build can also destroy. The same mouth that can create can also kill. And until you understand the power you carry in your words, you will continue to be a victim of your own vocabulary. I want to talk to someone right now who is tired. You are tired of starting over. You're tired of trying and failing. You're tired of believing and being disappointed. You're tired of hoping and being hurt. And because you're tired, you've started speaking tired. You've started declaring defeat. You've started announcing your exhaustion as if it's your identity. But fatigue is not your identity. It's a season, and seasons change. But if you keep speaking from your exhaustion, you'll extend the season. If you keep declaring from your disappointment, you'll multiply the pain. If you keep announcing from your frustration, you'll delay your breakthrough. What you need to do is zip your mouth about how tired you are and start declaring how strong you're becoming. Zip your mouth about how hard it's been and start declaring how worth it is going to be. Zip your mouth about how long it's taking and start declaring that your time is coming. Because here's what most people don't realize. The darkest hour is just before dawn. The hardest push is just before birth. The greatest pressure is just before the breakthrough. And if you quit now, if you give up now, if you stop speaking faith now, you'll never know how close you were. You were not created to live in mediocrity. You were not designed to survive. You were built to thrive. You were manufactured for dominance. You were crafted for excellence. But excellence doesn't come from comfort. Excellence comes from discipline. And one of the greatest disciplines you can master is the discipline of your mouth. Stop speaking carelessly. Stop complaining constantly. Stop criticizing continuously. Stop gossiping regularly. Stop explaining unnecessarily. Every word you speak is either building your future or destroying it. Every sentence you form is either creating opportunity or closing doors. Every declaration you make is either attracting blessing or inviting chaos. And I know this is hard. I know this is challenging because we live in a culture that celebrates expression. We live in a world that rewards oversharing. We live in a time where everyone thinks their opinion needs to be heard and their feelings need to be validated and their thoughts need to be broadcasted. But just because you can speak doesn't mean you should. Just because you have a platform doesn't mean you need to use it. Just because you have a voice doesn't mean every thought deserves to be vocalized. Wisdom knows when to speak. Wisdom knows when to be silent. Wisdom knows when to engage. Wisdom knows when to withdraw. And if you want to live a life of impact, if you want to build a legacy of significance, if you want to create a future of purpose, you must learn the wisdom of silence. Let me tell you about eagles. An eagle doesn't cluck with chickens. It doesn't gather with them. It doesn't gossip with them. It doesn't complain with them. The eagle flies alone. It soars in silence. And from that height, it has perspective that ground level creatures will never understand. But the moment that eagle comes down to the level of chickens and starts clucking with them, it loses its advantage. It forfeits its position. It compromises its power. You are an eagle living among chickens. And every time you engage in meaningless conversation, you're clucking. Every time you participate in gossip, you're clucking. Every time you complain about circumstances, you're clucking. And eagles don't cluck, eagles soar. But you can't soar and cluck at the same time. You must choose, zip your mouth, rise above the noise, elevate your conversation, change your vocabulary, upgrade your declarations, because the words you speak today are building the world you live in tomorrow. And let me be clear, I'm not telling you to be fake. I'm not telling you to suppress your emotions. I'm not telling you to pretend everything is perfect when it's not. I'm telling you to be strategic. I'm telling you to be intentional. I'm telling you to speak with purpose instead of reacting with emotion. There's a difference between honesty and negativity. There's a difference between transparency and complaint. There's a difference between processing pain and advertising it. You can acknowledge difficulty without declaring defeat. You can recognize challenges without announcing your limitations. You can feel exhausted without speaking exhaustion over your future. Your words should reflect your faith, not your feelings. Your declarations should reflect your vision, not your current vision. Your speech should reflect your destination, not your location. Because if you keep speaking from where you are, you'll never get to where you're going. I've seen people with every advantage talk themselves into failure. And I've seen people with every disadvantage speak themselves into success. The difference was not talent. The difference was not opportunity. The difference was not education or background or connections. The difference was what they said when nobody was listening. The difference was what they declared when everything looked impossible. The difference was what they spoke over themselves when everyone else had given up on them. You have that same power. Right now, in this moment, you can change the trajectory of your life with the words you choose to speak. You can shift your reality with the declarations you decide to make. You can rewrite your story with the sentences you form today. But it starts with zipping your mouth about the wrong things so you can open your mouth about the right things. It starts with silencing the complaints so you can amplify the vision. It starts with killing the excuses so you can birth the possibilities. Some of you need to stop talking about your past. You've been rehearsing your pain so long that it's become your identity. You introduce yourself with your trauma. You lead with your struggles. You define yourself by what happened to you instead of where you're going. And every time you tell that story, you give it power. Every time you repeat that narrative, you reinforce it. Every time you announce that limitation, you agree with it. Your past is not your prison unless you keep visiting it with your mouth. Your history is not your destiny unless you keep speaking it into your future. What happened to you was real. The pain was valid. The struggle was genuine. But it doesn't get to define you unless you let it. And you let it every time you speak it. Zip your mouth about what hurt you and start speaking about what healed you. Zip your mouth about what broke you and start speaking about what's building you. Zip your mouth about who left you and start speaking about who's coming. Because your next chapter is not found in your last chapter. Your breakthrough is not located in your breakdown. Your future is not hidden in your past. And here's the final thing I want you to understand. Your mouth is a gate. It's an entry point. It's a portal. And what you allow to come out of that gate determines what gets to come into your life. When you speak lack, you open the gate to poverty. When you speak fear, you open the gate to failure. When you speak doubt, you open the gate to defeat. But when you speak faith, you open the gate to favor. When you speak vision, you open the gate to provision. When you speak purpose, you open the gate to power. You control the gate. You hold the key. You determine what enters and what exits. And if your life is filled with chaos right now, check your gate. If your world is consumed with confusion right now, examine your mouth. If your future looks uncertain right now, listen to your words, because the gate has been opened to the wrong things. Close the gate. Zip your mouth. Take authority over your tongue. Master your speech. Command your words, because you were not created to be controlled by your circumstances. You were created to create your circumstances. You were not designed to be a victim of your environment. You were designed to be an architect of your world. You were not built to react to life. You were built to create it. And it all starts with your mouth. The same mouth that has been destroying your destiny can build your legacy. The same tongue that has been cursing your future can bless your family. The same words that have been attracting chaos can invite order. But you must make a decision today, right now, in this moment. Will you continue to speak carelessly, or will you speak intentionally? Will you continue to complain constantly, or will you declare consistently? Will you continue to gossip regularly, or will you guard strategically? The choice is yours. The power is yours. The future is yours. But first, you must zip your mouth about everything that doesn't serve your purpose. You must silence every word that doesn't build your future. You must kill every declaration that doesn't align with your destiny, because your words are seeds and you've been planting the wrong garden. Today is the day you change that. Today is the day you take back control. Today is the day you master your mouth. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Today, because the life you were born to live is waiting on the other side of your obedience. The future you were created for is waiting on the other side of your discipline. The destiny you were designed for is waiting on the other side of your silence. Zip your mouth, open your purpose, change your words, transform your world, because you are not average. You are not ordinary. You are not common. You are exceptional. You are powerful. You are purpose. And it's time your mouth started agreeing with who you really are. The greatest version of yourself is not trying to be born. It's trying to be spoken. So speak it, declare it, announce it. But only when your actions have already proven it. Because the world doesn't need more talkers. The world needs more doers. The world doesn't need more announcers. The world needs more achievers. The world doesn't need more people explaining their potential. The world needs more people demonstrating their power. Be that person. Become that force. Live that life. And it all begins the moment you decide to zip your mouth about the wrong things and open your mouth about the right things. Your future is not in your hands. Your future is in your mouth. Use it wisely. Use it powerfully. Use it purposefully. Because you were born for this moment. You were created for this season. You were designed for this assignment. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you except the words you speak over yourself. So speak life. Speak vision. Speak faith. Speak victory. And watch how the universe responds. Watch how doors open. Watch how opportunities appear. Watch how the impossible becomes possible, not because circumstances changed, but because you changed what you said about the circumstances. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your season. Don't waste it talking about what was. Don't waste it explaining what isn't. Use it declaring what will be. Use it speaking what must be. Use it creating what was always meant to be. Zip your mouth and unleash your destiny. The world is waiting. Your purpose is calling. Your future is ready. All it needs is your words to agree with it. So speak, but speak right. Speak with power. Speak with authority. Speak with conviction. And watch your life transform before your very eyes. Your mouth has been your enemy long enough. Today, make it your weapon. Your words have been your prison long enough. Today, make them your freedom. Your tongue has been your curse long enough. Today, make it your blessing. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The future is yours. But let me tell you something else that nobody wants to hear. You've been taught that words don't matter. You've been told that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. Words are the most powerful force on this planet. They've started wars, they've ended marriages, they've built empires, they've destroyed nations, they've healed hearts, they've broken spirits, and you've been wielding this power like a child with a loaded weapon. You speak death over your children and wonder why they lack confidence. You speak limitation over your business and wonder why it's not growing. You speak doubt over your dreams and wonder why they're not manifesting. You speak criticism over your spouse and wonder why the love is dying. You speak negativity over your health and wonder why your body is breaking down. And all along, you think you're just keeping it real. You think you're just being honest. No, you're being destructive. And the first casualty of your destruction is your own life. Let me take you deeper. There's a principle that most people never learn. Agreement creates permission. When you agree with something through your words, you give it permission to exist in your life. When you say, I always get sick this time of year, you're not predicting the future. You're creating it. You're giving sickness permission to visit you. When you say, I never have enough money, you're not stating a fact. You are forming a contract with poverty. When you say, I can't do this, you're not expressing limitation. You're establishing it. Stop making agreements with things you don't want. Stop giving permission to circumstances you want to change. Stop signing contracts with your mouth that your life has to honor, because every time you speak something repeatedly, you create a covenant with it. And covenants are binding. They're not easily broken. They require intentional action to dissolve. Some of you have been in covenant with failure for so long that you don't even recognize it anymore. You've been in covenant with sickness for so many years that you think it's genetic. You've been in covenant with poverty for so many generations that you think it's your heritage. But I'm here to tell you, you can break that covenant today. You can dissolve that agreement right now. You can cancel that contract with your next sentence. But it requires more than positive thinking. It requires aggressive speaking. It requires you to violently oppose every negative word that tries to come out of your mouth. It requires you to catch yourself mid-sentence and change direction. It requires you to interrupt your own complaining and redirect your conversation. This is warfare. And the battlefield is your mouth. You've become comfortable with negativity. You've normalized complaining. You've accepted mediocrity as your vocabulary. And in that agreement with others who speak the same language of limitation, you create a culture of defeat that becomes impossible to escape. But there are people who refuse to speak that language. They walk away when everyone starts complaining. They're not rude. They're protecting their future. They're guarding their destiny. They're preserving their power. You need to become one of them. Be the person who walks into a room and changes the atmosphere with their words, because your future is too important to gamble with careless words. Here's something powerful. The enemy of great is good. You've been settling for good enough. You've been speaking average words. And you wonder why your life feels mediocre. Because mediocre words create mediocre results. Upgrade your vocabulary. Elevate your speech. Stop saying I'm doing okay. Start saying I'm walking in purpose. Stop saying I'm managing. Start saying I'm thriving. Because your words don't just describe your experience. They design your experience. You were created in the image of the Creator. The Creator spoke worlds into existence. You have that same creative ability, but you've been using it backwards. You've been speaking existence into problems instead of speaking problems out of existence. Some of you are one conversation away from your breakthrough, one declaration away from your miracle, but you won't speak it. You're afraid of looking foolish. You're afraid of being disappointed. So you stay silent about your vision while staying vocal about your problems. And in that imbalance, your problems grow while your vision dies. Reverse it. Be silent about your problems. Be vocal about your vision. Zip your mouth about what's wrong and open your mouth about what's possible. Stop giving airtime to your fears and start giving voice to your faith. Because whatever gets the most attention gets the most power. And you've been giving all your attention to the wrong things. Let me tell you about a farmer. A farmer doesn't plant a seed and then spend every day digging it up to check if it's growing. The farmer doesn't stand over the soil questioning whether anything will happen. The farmer plants the seed, waters it, protects it, and trusts the process. But you plant a seed of vision and then dig it up the next day with doubt. You speak faith in the morning and speak fear in the evening. You declare victory on Sunday and declare defeat on Monday, and you wonder why nothing grows. Consistency is everything. Your words must be consistent. Your declarations must be unwavering, because unstable words create unstable results. You cannot speak both blessing and cursing from the same mouth and expect clarity in your life. You must choose, plant your feet, make a decision, choose your words, and stick with them. Even when circumstances contradict them, even when people question them, speak them anyway, because persistent declaration breaks through resistant circumstances. Your breakthrough is not waiting on God. Your breakthrough is not waiting on the economy. Your breakthrough is waiting on you. It's waiting on your mouth. It's waiting on your refusal to give up speaking life, even when everything looks dead. Death is never the end when you know how to speak life. Dead dreams can resurrect. Dead relationships can revive. Dead hope can return. But only if you're willing to speak life over what looks dead. Stop having funerals for things that are just sleeping. Your words can resurrect what circumstances killed. Your speech can restore what failure destroyed. You must believe it before you see it. You must speak it before it manifests. Because faith is speaking and then seeing. Faith is calling things that are not as though they already are. That's not denial. That's creation. That's not delusion. That's dominion. You don't need more education to change your life. You don't need more money. You don't need more connections. What you need is a new vocabulary. What you need is to change what you've been saying. I've seen uneducated people build empires with their words. I've seen poor people create wealth with their declarations. Because advantage is not what you have. Advantage is what you speak. Your words create advantages that circumstances can never provide. Because you're not limited by what you have. You're only limited by what you say. Now go and speak it into existence.